Hello, this is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose of Dylan. Google Podcast, Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio. This is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose of Dylan. Alright, it's going to be a double podcast today since I missed yesterday, so probably pretty long, but a lot of good stuff to unpack. By the way, the last episode I did is probably gonna, apparently the podcast I did on Tuesday didn't upload until today, so, podcast I did on Tuesday did not post until just now, so, alright, so you'll actually be getting 2 podcasts today, and, you're also going to get a 2-in-1 for this episode, because I missed yesterday. Alright. So this show's probably going to be dominated by the, Watson, suspension. But first I'm going to unpack what I was going to do yesterday. So, alright, so Rodgers is frustrated with his young receivers. I kind of called them out, so they were dropping a lot of passes. Now, when you talk about motivating guys, when you're directing those comments towards rookies, it's like probably a little demoralizing for them, because it's like, you know, the rookies are trying to build confidence. It's their first time in the NFL, you know, and not exactly an easy job, like, you know, you have to be easier on these guys, because it's hard, like I've said, you don't want to fill the shoes of, like, Tom Brady or something, like, I feel bad for whoever has to do that. Whoever has to fill the shoes of Tom Brady is in a rough spot, but, you know, he got to fill the shoes of Devontae Adams. That's hard. He's clearly been the best receiver the last 2 years, and it's a big shoes to fill. So, like, you're calling out a lot of receivers who are trying to build confidence, and now the Packers are in a rough spot with their receiving core. They really don't have anyone that seems... I mean, they drafted Christian Watson, which actually 34th overall is the highest they've drafted the receiver in 20 years, so that's says something about how they believe in let's call it QBs. Not QBs, receivers. You know, so I haven't been as vocal about this as a lot of other analysts have, but Rodgers is not the best leader. You know, it's clear. It's been said by different teammates. Not exactly the best leader for a football team to have. But when you compare, I don't think it's fair to compare him to Brady, because I feel like Brady has had significantly better rosters than Rodgers has had. Not receiving core-wise. I'm talking about, like, defenses. The quarterback is the leader of the team. Alright, so their defense, you know, you can't rely on your quarterback to put up 20 a game. Like 20, 30 points a game, you know. They're not going to do that. You got to hold teams down. And Brady he's never had a defense ranked lower than 17th. Rodgers has had a defense ranked under 20, higher than 20. He's had a defense ranked in the 20s 5 times in his career. So his support isn't very good. And like I said, I don't think he was right to do this. But talking about, like, as a whole, when people criticize Rodgers, it's like we're talking about one of the undoubtedly great players of our generation. Top 10, probably top 12 quarterback, maybe top 15 quarterback of all time. You know, he's got the second most MVPs ever, and I know he's a regular season guy, that's what people would say. I mean, you know, like, that's wrong because, like, does that make him a worse player? Not really. You know, like, it doesn't make him a top 10 quarterback ever. That's probably what keeps him out of there. If he were better in the playoffs his entire career, he'd probably be in the top 5. But he's not. But it doesn't make him, you know, down to the top 30. He's in the top 12, top 15. Yeah. Second most MVPs ever. Second most valuable player ever. You know, like, I think that has some value to it. And 2 of his MVPs have come when he's older than 35. Like, yes, Brady's feat age-wise is more impressive than Rodgers, but we don't talk about, you know, Rodgers, how he's pretty much been aging in reverse as well. You know, like, I mean, that's what it really boils down to is, yes, Rodgers isn't the best leader, and he could be better in the playoffs, and I don't think he should have made these comments, but I think we should, like with everyone else in the media pretty much banging on him right now, I feel like I have to be the person to remind everyone just how great Aaron Rodgers really is. Alright, so the Giants didn't pick up Daniel Jones' 5th-year option. Now, they're saying this is a prove-it year for Daniel Jones. I think that should have been last year. You know, but I think this is an indicator. If they're not picking up his 5th-year option, they're already leaning towards, you know, not clearly signing him again. You know, and with Tyrod Taylor sitting behind, Tyrod Taylor, I believe, has a winning record. You know, Tyrod Taylor, he's not a great quarterback. But yeah, Tyrod Taylor is 41, 36, and 1 in his career. You know, he's got a winning record breathing down his neck, and I've said I believe Daniel Jones could be benched this year. You know, in fairness, he is coming off a neck injury and a hamstring problem. You gotta start him at least for like 6 to 10 games. You know, to see exactly what you have. Especially in this case, because you want to show that drafting him 6 overall is somewhat worth it. We already know you made the right choice between him and Dwayne Haskins, but you know, it's like you have to show that drafting one of them in the first place was a good move. So, that's my take on the Giants. They won yesterday, but the Yankees have been really struggling this month. They've won 3 of their last 15. They do have a lot of injuries. You got Stanton, Severino, and there's still a lot of season left, so I'm not entirely out on them yet. But yeah, like I said, Severino, Stanton, Michael King, probably their best reliever. Matt Carpenter was a huge help. He's out. You know, they're 8-17 since the All-Star break. I think injuries are a big component as to why the Yankees are struggling right now. But, you know, like I said, a lot of season left. They're still second in the AL, which is pretty damn impressive. Considering how badly they've been struggling, they can still be a top AL team, you know, so you just got to pick it up, especially in September. They really got to get it going. Just gotta wait for that. It'll happen. All right. So the Knicks and Jazz apparently are resuming Donovan Mitchell talks, and the NBA they've really been quiet. Like I said, I'm talking like 75 to 80% football right now. That's the time we're at right now because the NBA is going to start soon, but it's just been really quiet. Outside of, KD. But, again, this is the off time for the NBA. No one's real worried about, improving their team right now because the off season's really almost over and they're about to start playing games in like a month. So it's kind of their off time before the season starts, and then hopefully it'll get a little louder. But Donovan Mitchell is great, and he can help the Knicks out a lot. They've been lacking a real star for a while. Julius Randle, he's been productive, but nothing really special. And Donovan Mitchell isn't a superstar, but I think he's a good player to build around, because he's still young and he has time to become a superstar, Jalen Brunson also seems promising. He was a great player in the playoffs this year. But, the Knicks, one playoff appearance in 9 years. That's what they're at right now. So, the Knicks, I think even if they trade for Donovan Mitchell, they're still possible to, maybe they make the playoffs, but they're out of the first round, It's a quick exit for them. So, I talked a few days ago about the Christmas Day games. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be great sports day for any sports fan. You get 10 of the best NBA teams, 6 of the best, NFL teams. What's crazy is the 2, 3, and 4 seeds from the East are making an appearance there. But the 1 seed, the Heat, are not represented. I think the Heat are a little slept on. Because think about it, they were 1 shot away from their second finals in 3 years. And they took the Lakers to 6 with just Jimmy Butler. Adebayo was out. They had a lot of injuries that year. They took the Lakers to 6. And this year, 1 shot away from the NBA Finals. And let's be real, they would have lost to the Warriors. But, the Heat they're a dangerous team. Another team I'm interested in is Denver. They should be stacked again. Michael Porter Jr. is back. Jamal Murray should be fully healthy. Nikola Jokic might be the least recognized MVP I've ever seen in my life. Until a few days ago, I forgot he was a 2-time MVP right now. Back-to-back. It wasn't like that with Giannis. I knew for a while he was back-to-back, but he's very the quietest 2-time MVP I've seen. But the thing is, he doesn't have the flash that Ja has. By the way, the Grizzlies-Warriors game I'm very interested in. The Grizzlies pushed the Warriors to 6 games, remember? And I think the Grizzlies they could possibly be following the Warriors' footsteps. Developing through the draft, not a lot of free agency signings. Ja, he seems like a great... But despite all the flash, I do think he's a great player. I don't think he's all flash. I think he's a great player who happens to be, very flashy, very superstar. And I don't think he's gonna last. I don't think his peak is gonna last very long. But I can see the Grizzlies going. I think they're only going to get better from this year on. But I don't think you need Flash to really last in the NBA. I think Nikola Jokic. I think the Joker is going to be. I think he's going to last very long in the NBA. Athletic players can last long if they develop a passing game. We've seen with LeBron. He was very athletic in his younger years, but he became, more of a pass-first guy later on. I really think it's because he's tired. But, I think Nikola Jokic is amazing. I think he's got a high basketball IQ. I think that's very important. I think he just got, I don't even know what the word is. Just great instincts, I guess, basketball-wise. He's just, I just think he's a great player. I would argue he's a top 5 player in basketball right now. Some people might disagree with that, but, I think you put, Curry in there as clearly in the top 5. But why wouldn't you include the back-to-back MVP in that, The other series I'm looking forward to is the Bucks Celtics. It's going to be great. We saw that exciting 7-game series. And I do believe if Chris Middleton was healthy, it's very possible the Bucks would have been in the finals and not Celtics. But I think either way, the Warriors were winning. It was their year this year. They were just great from start to finish. It was a clinic that the Warriors put on this year. So I'm going to get to a little less serious side of the show real quick. So I don't know what this is, but Rodgers displayed a Nicolas Cage bust. I'm not sure what his fascination is. Obviously, I'm sure everyone saw he showed up in a white tank top and jeans for camp the other day. And I really don't know what he's trying to. I don't know why he has a I don't know. That was just weird. I don't know. He just gets weirder and weirder every day. I'm not sure. I don't know if there's maybe. I think it would be interesting if there was a movie or documentary made about Rodgers and they had Nicolas Cage play him. I think that would be interesting. And honestly, I don't really care who plays him. I would be interested in that anyway. Because I would love more insight on the last few years about Rodgers, because it's been interesting. I would love more insight on what happened last year with the whole trade request, because it was weird. Because Rodgers didn't come out himself and say, I want out. And he didn't even tell, Adam Schefter even said, Rodgers didn't tell him that. Schefter took a bunch of stories and put together that Rodgers wanted out, and of course, Rodgers didn't deny it. So that was clear that he actually did, but it's weird, because why wouldn't he... honestly, what I'm interested in is why he didn't say anything, first. Why did it have to be a reporter, that had to put together a bunch of... Why did it have to be an insider who put together a bunch of reports and then said, he wants out? Why didn't... I don't know. I would just love a lot more insight on that. So, McCole Hardman was helped off the field, and this could potentially be serious. If it is serious, it's a big problem for the Chiefs. They already lost Hill. It's... That's already a big loss as far as their offense productivity. You know, McCole Hardman was probably the next man up, and he is. I'm sure it's something serious, but like we gotta find more. Gotta get updates on that, but you know, the last report I heard is that it's not considered serious, so that's good for the Chiefs. But you know, a good comparison, I think, would be it's kind of like the Packers situation with Favre and Shannon Sharpe. Where I mean, Shannon Sharpe was also a 5-time Pro Bowler. Hill is a 6-time Pro Bowler. Hill is 3-time All-Pro. Sharpe was 3-time All-Pro. And you know, but the thing is, after Sharpe left, that's when Favre was able to take it to the next level and win the Super Bowl. You know, so I think it's possible for Mahomes. I would also compare this to the Rodgers situation with Adams gone, but Favre was closer to Mahomes. Like, they were both kind of younger at the time, but they were clearly talented. You know, and Rodgers is in the late years of his prime right now, so you know, it's closer to the Mahomes situation. So, I mean, I think it's very possible. I think I've mentioned this before, that I think it could be a good thing, especially for Rodgers if he, you know, becomes more open-minded. That'd be huge for him. So, you know, but it is crazy how, you know, Shannon Sharpe was a 5-time Pro Bowler. Adams was also a 5-time Pro Bowler, and the only difference is Sharpe had 3 All-Pros. Adams only had 2 so far. So, he's very similar to those receivers for their first few years. But you know, we'll see how they handle it. We'll see if they go down the same path. Alright. So, I've seen a few questions. It's like, who's most likely to draft a QB in the first round next year? Like, which team with a starter, a definitive starter, you know, is most likely to draft a quarterback next year? I think it's the Giants. You know, I really do. I think Daniel Jones struggles this year. I think they bench him for Tyrod Taylor, and I think they say, that's it. We're going with another quarterback. You know, because, I mean, the only other things I can think of is the Bears. You know, I don't think they're going to draft another quarterback. They're not really... They don't normally draft a first-round quarterback unless they, like, don't have one. They drafted Justin Fields, but that was after, like, years of Trubisky just playing, like, absolute crap. So, I think there's still a lot of time before they trade Fields. And the Jets with Wilson, I mean, I don't think he's really had a fair shake yet, so. Alright. You know, I mean, I think for Jones to get benched for Taylor, they have to get to a point where they're completely out. They have to be completely done with Daniel Jones in order to bench him. You know, because it can't just be, oh, he's struggling in this game, we're going to bench him. Because if they bench him, the media will go absolutely insane, including me, because I'll definitely take it for something bigger than it probably is. You know what a good debate is? Which Alabama quarterback, which former Alabama quarterback will win the most this year? Tua, Hurts, or what's it called, Mac Jones. I think the only one you can eliminate is Mac Jones, the way I see it, because I think the Patriots are like a 7 or 8 win team. Tua and the Dolphins, I think, are going to win a lot of games. And then I think Jalen Hurts is the answer. He's got a top O-line. He's got great help around him, and he's in the easiest division. So I think that's an easy way to say, Hurts is going to win the most. Then Tua, then Mac Jones. Now we can go into what I was going to talk about today. So, okay. Isn't really breaking news anymore, as I put down. But, Watson is suspended for 11 games and has a $5 million fine. Now, some people did speculate he may get 0 games, because I have said this multiple times. There was no released evidence. There's nothing that we know that he did, but from what we've heard, there is enough evidence to put him out for a full year. That's what Goodell said, and I'm just gonna trust him there. All right, now I said up to 12 or a year. And because you know how I knew that 6 games wasn't enough, because Watson's camp was satisfied with it. They were happy with it. Because they knew it was light. It was. I thought that was a clear indicator that it was not enough. And part of me thinks the NFL did this on purpose, because his first game back is actually at Houston. After that, they have the Bengals, Ravens, and Saints. They have the Bengals, Ravens, Saints, Washington, and the Steelers. So he comes back and doesn't really play any big games for the Browns. Because I think by the time he comes back, I don't think that he's not really going to be able to save them, Because I think they're already going to be, maybe fighting with the Steelers for last place. So it's like... Yeah, he misses the first 12 weeks, and then and I really don't think he's really not going to have much here. I don't think they're not going to have him through the games where they play the best quarterbacks. I can see them being last in their division this year, even behind the Steelers. It's going to be between them and the Steelers. Yeah, but like I said, they're going to be... Like I said, with Brissett, they're going to be outmatched in most quarterback matchups this year. It's the Browns' fault. They gave a potential criminal the only fully guaranteed contract. They rewarded bad behavior. And the crazy thing is, it's not like it was after he settled 20 of the cases. This was while he was on trial. They paid him the money while he was on trial. That's their fault. Now, he hasn't played in 2 years, so I think even when he comes back, he's still going to be a little rusty. He's not going to be the Deshaun Watson that we know. The last time he played, he was a beast. He led the league in passing yards. He's not going to be that guy anymore right now. He might get back to it, but he's not going to be the guy he used to be. the Browns, luckily for them, they have an easy first few weeks. They have the Panthers, Jets, Steelers, and Falcons. It's possible they go like 3-1 in those. I don't know if they beat the Panthers. They definitely have the inferior quarterback in. They have the inferior quarterback in at least half of those. Mayfield is better than him, than Brissett, and Zach Wilson if he plays in week 2. I don't know how long he's going to be out with this injury, but if Wilson plays in week 2, they are outmatched. Even if Flacco plays, actually, so no matter what, they're outmatched at quarterback. Steelers, we don't know who's starting. If Pickett starts, I'm going to go with Brissett. I'm going to say they have a better quarterback there. If Trubisky does, though, I'd say it's pretty even. And then week 4, they have a rookie quarterback. The Falcons have a rookie quarterback, so we're not sure about him yet. Yeah, but, I mean, they can. The Panthers are not a good team. And yeah, the Falcons is a definite win, so. I mean, I don't know. They're lucky. That's all I gotta say. They're lucky that they have the first few weeks are easy for them. Alright, so Mac Jones said that the Patriots coaches have a lot of experience and know exactly how to attack a defense. Now, I really don't have much of an opinion on this. The Patriots are 8-9, 9-8 at best. They're third in their division. That's all they are. I'm not going to overrate them. They're 8-9. They're okay. That's all I got for you. So, Drew Lock was actually nixed from the preseason start with COVID. So, it looks like Geno Smith is the answer for quarterback right now. By the way, week 1, Seahawks at Broncos. That's going to be the debut of the Seahawks looking like absolute crap. That's going to be the debut. Where, you know? And it's Monday Night Football, too. That's the great part of it. Hey, it's in Seattle. It's not going to matter. Because they're still going to get destroyed. So, I think Brissett and Smith are very similar. Clearly, they're not a great quarterback. I mean, I guess they can hold down the fort for like 2 weeks, and then you realize, well, they're a backup. So, all right. So, Kyle Shanahan. I've been a little in and out of, I've been a little on and off about what I feel about Trey Lance. We're hearing good things out of camp, but it's like, I don't know. So Shanahan said, he admitted that Trey Lance has had a rough couple of days of camp. And I heard at practice he missed more than half of his throws. And they contacted someone outside of the building, a quarterback consultant. That's not a good sign. And the thing with Trey Lance, I do believe in the Niners. I have them high my power. I have them top 5 in my power rankings. I think they have a great roster around Trey Lance, but there's a lot of quarterbacks that they're going to have to face that are clearly better than Trey Lance. I think Lance can take Justin Fields. I think he can take Geno Smith or Drew Lock. Then he goes to Russell Wilson. The week after, he goes to Matt Stafford. Then he goes to Baker Mayfield, who he's not better than. Okay, then he got a break with the Falcons. Then he goes to Patrick Mahomes. Then he's got Matt Stafford again. Then he's got Justin Herbert. Then Kyler Murray. Then he gets a break with Jameis Winston. Then Tua, which by week 13, who knows? Tua might be a proven quarterback by then. Then Brady. Then he gets another break with Smith or Drew Lock. Then he goes to Washington. Carson Wentz is... really depends what day he's having in that game. If he's having a good game, then they're outmatched. But if he's not, then I think anyone's better than Carson Wentz when he's not on fire. Then he's got Derek Carr and Kyler Murray. So I got to count here. So I'll give him Washington. I'll say Carson Wentz is struggling that day. I'll give him Washington. Seahawks twice. Okay. Falcons. I'll give him that. And I'll give him a bit. So that's 5 games. Okay. So 12 of the 17 games that they play, they're pretty much outmatched at quarterback. And yes, I am giving Jameis Winston the upper hand there because I don't know a lot about Trey Lance right now. You know, they got some tough quarterbacks to play, and, you know, I just don't know. I mean, I get where they're trading Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not exactly the most available player there is. Trading him is probably best. I honestly think he's going to be better as a backup quarterback. You know, but that doesn't mean it's going to be anything. Doesn't mean it's going to be anything good for the Niners. All right. So Baker Mayfield got some great news. He's starting for Carolina. Probably the most somber good news you could possibly have. You're starting for the Carolina Panthers. Now, this is what he gets for failing with the Browns. He had a great roster in his hands and he blew it. He had Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett, he had Nick Chubb. He actually had 2 good running backs. He had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, who didn't even deserve to be in the NFL at that point anyway, but he got him anyway. He had good fortune in Cleveland, and he blew it. Now what does he have? He has a rebuilding team with a coach who is on the hot seat. That's a significant downgrade, if you ask me. So I think that's what happens when you blow your first chance at something great in NFL, and this is what Mayfield has to deal with now. Alright, so apparently with the Deshaun Watson situation, the NFL's minimum was 12 games, but then the NFLPA met halfway and gave him 11. Yeah, they didn't really meet halfway, but they just brought it down to 11. Now the thing with negotiations is not everyone's going to be happy at the end. Like with this decision, Watson's camp is going to be mad about the fine they just got, and some will be mad that it's not a full year, and some still think Deshaun Watson is innocent. So not everyone's going to be happy, but you just gotta agree to something. That's all you gotta do in negotiations. So 11 games, $5 million fine, good enough. So I mean, what's it called? Peter King was on The Hurt today, and you know his conclusion. He's been at pretty much all the camps, training camps so far, all the practices. His conclusion was Lance isn't really ready right now. They have to get I think they have a great running game to back him up right now. To help him out, and they have a good roster. Like I said, that's why I had them high in the power rankings. But you know, they're not going to win a Super Bowl without at least a system quarterback. Like Jimmy G, he worked. But the thing is, he didn't win a Super Bowl. That's the thing. He got them there. He got them to the NFC Championship. He never got over the hump. And I think that's because he's not a great quarterback. Look at the people they lost to. Matthew Stafford seems to be a good quarterback when he has a good roster around him. And Pat Mahomes. What does that look like to you? They were outmatched at quarterback. So you gotta have a quarterback who's ready, but it doesn't look like Lance is. So. Alright. So, back to the Chiefs. They, like I said, it looks like McCole Hardman is not in. Doesn't look like his injury is. Doesn't look like his injury is serious, but we also have to think, he's not Tyreek Hill. So they won't be the same explosive team they were before. When they had Tyreek Hill. That's going to be a downgrade. And McCole Hardman, he doesn't have to be Tyreek Hill. He doesn't have to be the fast guy going down the field. He just has to be. He has to make up for the production that Tyreek Hill had, which is hard on the Chiefs because Tyreek Hill was clearly he was their most dangerous weapon for the entirety of their run since 2019. He's been their most dangerous weapon, but he's not there anymore. And you got Kelsey, but he can only do so much as a tight end. So one of your receivers, they gotta come up clutch. Same with the Packers, man. They gotta step up. Someone's gotta be a number one receiver. Alright, alright. I got one more thing on Trey Lance. Why do you guys think he wanted Lance to have 2 full practices against the Vikings? It's because he has to get better at what he doesn't do well. And if he wanted him to have 2 full practices there, it shows. It doesn't show he's a bad quarterback, but it shows he's got a lot to work on. So I think he can develop throughout the year, but I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be rough for the first, few weeks. Okay. So the Browns issued a statement on behalf of Deshaun Watson. Clearly I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically I'm trying to focus, be the best version of myself, all that stuff. Had a different tone at the podium. He's going to continue to plead his innocence, and I'm not on the inside of this whole thing. I don't know everything about it, but if the NFL is saying, first of all, no one has 30 massage therapists. That's just not normal. That's just insane. So that's one thing that makes me suspicious. And if the NFL is saying that the evidence requires a full year, then I think they found something. They haven't released any evidence about it, but clearly they found something that urged them to get him, want him out for a full year. Now, this is a big problem for the Browns, because he's going to be rusty. When he gets back. He can't practice until early November. And he can't even be in the facility until October 10th. I think this is a 7 or 8 win team at best. This is this team is they're a joke, man. They It's their fault. Like I said, you can't at least wait for him to be, proven guilty, proven innocent before you pay him, man. Like, he was on trial. He didn't even settle a single case. He was on trial, and they gave him fully guaranteed money. That's insane. This is not how you run an organization, man. It's their fault. It is their fault. And I will not... I will not change your mind on that. Alright, so Dennis Allen said he is seeing pre-injury Michael Thomas at practice. This is another team. I think there's going to be a lot of average teams this year. I think the Saints are one of them. I think they're a 9-8 team. They were 5-2 before Winston's injury, but clearly that all went to hell. But the Saints are just, they're really just a mediocre team. They're not anything special. And this is a quarterback coach league. They don't have a top 15 quarterback, and they don't have a top 15 coach, as far as we know. Dennis Allen could be great, but as far as we know, he's not a top 15 coach. So, DeAndre Swift has big expectations for next year. He believes he can be a 1,000-yard rusher and receiver this year. And he's a great player. I actually like the Lions. I think they're going to be a fun watch. Like a 6-win team. They're going to be a fun watch, but they're not going to win a lot of games. I'm going to say 5-12, 6-11 from the Lions, but I like how their future is looking. Kind of like Kyler Murray's first year with the Cardinals. What was the record that year? It was like they were 5-10-1. Yeah, but they were a fun watch in Kyler Murray's first year. Then they were up to 8-8. Then 11-6. This year. So they're slowly getting better. That's what I can see with the Lions. They're a fun watch. 5-12, 6-11 team. I think Jared Goff is their biggest weakness, honestly, right now. I think Dan Campbell is a better coach than I expected. So we'll see what they do. But I have a lot of faith in them. So Matt LaFleur, back to the Rodgers situation. He says he appreciates Rodgers' urgency for the receivers to improve. By the way, for more context on the story, he actually met with the receivers yesterday. That's encouraging to know. But when you look at their receiving core, it's 3 rookies, Amari Rodgers, who hasn't played a game, and 2 older wide receivers out of their prime. Randall Cobb is not elite anymore. Watkins barely ever plays a full season. So they're in a tough spot, but it's encouraging that they met. They met up. So LeBron signed an extension, and I think it's clear he knows it's not a championship team. I'm sure he knows that this is not a championship roster, and he knows that they won't get a championship roster if he takes all that money. But I think he's been through almost every stage that a great player goes through. The show-off stage, your early years, like Jordan. Both Jordan and LeBron, in their first 5 years, they showed great talent, Um, they showed great talent, great athletic ability. They just weren't winning championships. Then they go to the winning stage. LeBron in Miami, picked up 2 championships. Jordan won 3 in a row, and then won 3 in a row again afterwards. So then there's the winning stage, and then, Jordan came out of retirement and went to the Wizards. Then it's more about, for LeBron right now, I think it's more about money right now for LeBron. The contract he gets, I'm not sure what he plans to do. If he, I don't know if he's trying to play with his son or not, but, if he is, I guess he's on the right path, signing a 2-year extension. Now, Colin Cowherd on the Herd today, he actually brought up a good point. I don't always agree with him, but I agreed with him today. He brought up a good point. If you think about the best roster in the NBA, it's probably the Warriors, right? If you compare the Lakers roster to the Warriors, you take the 10 best players from those rosters, it's mainly the Warriors. Now, I'd probably change a little bit of the rankings, but I think he's pretty spot on. Steph Curry, number 1, LeBron 2, Davis 3. It's the easy one. Wiggins 4. I would put Klay Thompson at 4 instead of Wiggins. I'd swap them. Draymond Green 6, Jordan Poole 7, Russell Westbrook 8. I think that's actually a good ranking. Then Kevon Looney at 9, and then 10, any young Warrior. Probably James Wiseman, in my opinion. But look at that. Only 3 of those players out of the 10 are Lakers players. 7 of them are Golden State. That just shows how far they are from a championship roster, I think. So it's rough. It is a rough roster that the Lakers have. So Todd Bowles said that there's no definitive date for Tom Brady's return from personal leave. Now, I guess it's kind of something that Brady has earned. I don't think I would say that about any other athlete, but I think Brady's earned the... He's been in the NFL for 22 years. I think he gets a break to be with his family for a little bit. I think that's a good thing. But if he is gonna go for a leave, he's gonna have to come back, because if he's trying to go for another year, then he's gotta keep practicing here. And I do believe, I may eat these words, but I do believe this will be Brady's last year in the NFL. I said it. It's bad. Now he's going to retire, because I'm always wrong about Brady. That's how I know. Alright. So, finally, Marquise Brown. What's his name? Yeah, Marquise Brown. Spoke about the Ravens trade for the first time in really a while now. He basically said, I just feel like sometimes they didn't need me. He wants to feel that he is helping the team win. And, I guess I get it, but I think he was helping them win. I think he was a big part in it. I think he was the best receiver on the Ravens I think he was Lamar Jackson's really only hope, but that's just me. Alright, just to review everything I talked about today, talked about Rodgers, his receivers. Giants did not pick up Daniel Jones' 5th-year option. The Yankees have been struggling. The Knicks Jazz are resuming Donovan Mitchell talks. The Chiefs could be in a tough spot without Tyreek Hill. What else? Trey Lance is not ready for today. And finally, Deshaun Watson suspended. He's also, I think he has to go through some counseling. I think that's also part of it, I believe. No, I don't think anyone really wins in this, because the NFL was hoping for, the NFL was hoping for a year suspension. Watson's camp was probably hoping for just a 6 game. No one really wins here, in this suspension, but I think it's the most fair you're going to get. So, alright. This is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose of Dylan. Google Podcast, Spotify, Speaker, iHeartRadio. Dylan Miller, Daily Dose of Dylan. Have a good day. I will see you tomorrow.